how to draw the proportions of the face. So to start off, I'm going to do the outside of the head. And start off with a big circle. You really want to try and fill your page with it. Don't draw a tiny little head. Now I'm going to make a little mark below here. This is where the chin's going to be. I'm just going to curve out down to the chin line. Try and get it as symmetrical or same on both sides as I can. I'm going to then go ahead and erase that inside circle line. Okay. Now a face is symmetrical, same on both sides, so everything will be same on either side. Now the eye line is actually halfway down the face. Most people want to start with eyes up at the top, but your eyes are actually about here. This part would be forehead, up here would be hair. Now something that is important to the proportions of the face is that we actually could fit 5 eyes across our head. Now I know we only have 2 of them, but I'm drawing 5 of them to make sure that they fit proportionally across the head. See how I could fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the face? And then going to erase the extra ones and keep my 2. Notice how I used the center line to make sure they were even, and I drew them directly on that eye line. All guidelines that we make will erase as we go. Now, about halfway between the eye line and the chin line is the nose line, and halfway between the nose line and the chin line is the mouth line. So the bridge of the nose would be right about here, and your nose would come down about here. Now the width of the nose is usually about to the corners of the eyes. I'm going to draw a really faint little line here. Always draw light so you've got it right, because there's always erasing in drawing. So I'll draw this part of the nose, and then I'll draw the nostrils coming out. I always tell my students do a U shape, C, and a backward C. And then we'll go through and we'll define it a little bit more later. And I'll erase those guidelines. Now halfway between the nose and the chin is the mouth line. So the mouth usually goes from about the pupil to the other pupil. So I'll stretch it that way. Now we don't have just a smile like an emoji, we have lips. So I'm going to put a little curve. This is my center line here. I'm going to curve up into kind of a soft M, not a mustache. It's the top lip. And I'm going to stretch that to the end of my curve line. We also have a little bit of a curve here. Soften those lips up. And then underneath we have, it starts out as kind of a straight line, curves up there. Okay, and I can erase these guidelines here as well. Okay, I'm going to take the center line out now that we have our proportions. So we're going to go back in and add some details. For example, in the eye is an almond shape. It curves a little bit more on top, it's a little flatter on bottom, and it has this little space here. That's the pink part of your eye. Now the big circle in your eye is called the iris. That is where the color is. Now you can usually see the bottom of the circle, but the top of the circle is covered by the eyelid coming down. Same thing over here, always symmetrical, same on both sides. Now I'm looking, this one's a little bit smaller. I'm going to go back and correct them. Again, that's why pencils have erasers. We can always fix our mistakes. Now, the center part is called the pupil. I typically leave out a highlight area. It's easier to leave it out than to go back and erase. And then I draw my pupil in there. The pupil is the black part of the eye in the center. Try and center it in where your circle is. Okay, now you can go back in and add some eyelids. Get a little dimension to those eyes. Maybe lower lids. Now, everyone has eyelashes. Boys never want to draw them, but we all have them. just some thin little lines curving outward. And we would all look like Voldemort if we didn't have eyebrows. So just a little bit above the eyes, starting from just outside of them, curving in. And eyebrows are nice because they can really show emotion. For example, if I draw her eyebrows really pointed down, she looks kind of angry. Now she's smiling, kind of looks like an evil smile. If I drew them more slanted and high, she looks a little bit worried or concerned. I'm going to give her a happy face. Just go ahead and draw them like that. Okay. Now, the proportions of the ears line up with the eyes and the nose. So you start about the eye line, go out a little, curve back in about where the nose line is. Same thing on the other side. Start at the eyes, go out and down about where the nose is. The inside of the ear is a little bit complicated. I usually just kind of draw a little curve. And you can add earrings, you could add glasses, add all sorts of things to it, personalize it. The next part would be the hair. About here is the forehead, up here is the hair. So whichever hairstyle you'd like to add, you can. I'm just going to do some hair that's parted a little asymmetrically. Tuck it behind the ear there. Now the hairline will go up a little bit above this skull line I have here. Not too much higher. Some people tend to draw it really high up, but it's just above the skull line a little. I'll bring it down, give her some longer hair. And then I can then go back and erase the skull line. Okay, now she needs a neck. Females tend to have a little bit more, a little bit thinner neck. Males tend to have a wider, blockier neck. And if you have space, you can put a curve at the bottom of the neck for the collar. And if you have space for shoulders, you go out and down, out and down. Okay?